Hello and welcome. Hi, everybody. I just realized I missed a golden opportunity to start out with trigger warning for images that might upset you with those Supreme Court
Oh,
and Caroline. I
yes,
think it would
next
have been
time.
funny. Next time. Yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. My name is Margaret Pennard. I'm a historical fiction author and an eclectic reader. And I have met some wonderful people on Booktube, and I'm inviting some of them, coaxing, luring, pulling over onto my channel this month to talk about books that have agitated them, either in the past and transformed their thinking or behavior, or made them read it and then come on to discuss it, which is what Leo's case is. So Leo, why don't you tell us a little bit how you got roped into Booktube, first of all, and then what you like to read?
Yeah, absolutely. I haven't posted on BookTube probably for a couple of years now, so I'm not active, but I think
Subscribe anyway.
subscribe anyway. Yeah, some stuff might come up.
Yeah.
I just was really, I think I joined BookTube at a time when a lot of people in the pandemic, we were kind of like, what do we do? We need some hobbies that we can sit from home and longing for connection.
Yeah.
And I also really wanted to dive deeper and more critically into my reading. And so it kind of gave a really nice way to structure, to give myself accountability to, to do that. So I really enjoyed that while I was doing it, but it's a time commitment and other things have come up. I love reading. I'm sure you're not familiar with that
You
at
don't
all.
say. Yeah,
One of the reasons I had stepped back from my BookTube channel was to focus on writing my own novel, but that's still a work in progress. But I love, I love nonfiction, and I love uh, fantasy, mystery, mostly fantasy mystery. I'm working on a fantasy mystery, and so I'm also trying to really read the genre to make sure I'm, current. And so, any of your all's favorite fantasy or mystery authors that I should know about, drop in the chat. That'd be
because you
great.
need more recommendations for your TBR, right?
I do. It's never big enough. Yeah,
Right. Well,
yeah,
we need to build a wall to protect ourselves, then we can build that other books. So
yeah,
there's our
yeah,
options.
exactly,
Just wanted to say
exactly.
hello to the folks in the chat. Marian's here with a beer in late day. Sounds good. This is my third Agitation August of the day. Love it. Greg's here. Hello on a rainy Wednesday. I got a few drops of rain on my walk down here, but now I'm seeing the sunshine. So I think we'll be okay. We have Eva in the house. Hello. Eva putting you on the spot here.
Yes, I have. I think actually, and I think I own most of your books too. So yeah,
Probably, yes.
yeah,
Hardcore supporter. Very much appreciated. So, what's the one we're talking about today, which I think is one of my recommendations?
it is actually. So all we can save. I had not read this prior to your email, and you had talked about like what books agitate us or could agitate us, and so this had been on my list. I think I probably bought it pretty much in 2021, and it's on the well, you can't see it from here, but the wall of nonfiction that I've purchased at that time, and having
Yeah.
now 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 I need a little agitation to dive into some of these deeper topics because they're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
harder to get into. But yeah, so then I read it for this, and very glad I did. And it is
And
very provoking. Yeah.
it's climate change related, but also note in the subtitle it says truth,
Hmm.
courage, and solution. So it might be a little bit more positive than you're used to hearing about when we talk about climate change
Yeah,
issues,
absolutely.
right? Yeah.
And I think this would have hit a little differently if I had read it in 2021.
You want to
Um,
expand upon why you wrote me a little bit about that, but yeah, it's
yeah,
definitely
yeah,
something that's come up in other talks. So go ahead.
yeah. I, some of the essays are really hopeful because of the like growing momentum of the organization at the time, and like the youth climate movement, and like the Green Bill, and all of these things that were like
Yeah, Green New
increasing.
Deal.
Green New Deal, thank you. And then like presidential candidates who were including uh, uh, you know discussion of climate change in their platforms, and how that just look at all the things we're doing and all the change we're making, and just reading that now, looking at just, I mean, you know, it just, we're not in it. I'm not in a hopeful place about, you know, the value of human life and dignity and the climate and any of those things. So
Yeah.
but still very powerful. But it just would have,
Yeah.
it would have landed differently, I think, if I'd read it when I first bought it.
Right. It's hard to hear about things that you know have already been cut off at the knees.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it. Yeah.
But just like highlighting for people, I haven't seen much from Katherine K. Wilkinson, but Ayana Elizabeth Johnson has come out with another book called What If We Get It Right, which was from last year, which I have not read, but is on my shelf. And I think she's really great on Instagram and other social media where she's promoting more positive things even now. So, you know, if you do want someone to follow from this, I definitely recommend Ayana Eliza on Instagram.
Nice.
But feel free to write in with questions. In case you have a question about my background, I'm in Bold Coffee and Books in Portland, which is a great indie bookstore. And it's because they're taking the door off my apartment and redoing the deck right now. So it was going to be a little noisy for this discussion.
Yeah, probably best not to have that happening while we're trying to discuss serious topics.
Yeah. And one of the things that has come up is, and I think this is one of the best books to like dive into it first, is like how all these issues are sort of tied together and wrapped in, entangled together. So we are talking about disinformation on Monday and how it affects all these different areas. And one of the quotes that we both highlighted on this, I talked about a Heather McGhee quote, and you talked about the system of capitalism. So let me just read the Heather McGhee quote. We could start us off here. 91. Heather McGhee is an author, and I've read one of her books. So I went, oh, I know that person. Inequality and climate change are the twin challenges of our time, and more democracy is the answer to both. What do you think? How does that wrap in all the other struggles together? If that spurred anything for you. I know it's early.
Yeah, no, it's tough because, like, yes, and you know, that gets at some of my like hopelessness about the human race. You know, will democracy, I mean, will any political system get us out of the lack of empathy and the bigotry and the scapegoating that we're in right now? I think if so, then yes, democracy is certainly like something we definitely, I mean, yes, please hear me, lean into democracy. Like I'm saying that, I'm also like,
manifest,
yeah. You know, struggle with thinking that, my struggle lately is just seeing the good in people. And I think democracy relies in some extent on people acting to some degree as decent human beings.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've been sprinkling some of my talks. So I tried to prepare most of these books in advance and sort of read them so that I could write questions and then send them out before. And so some of these are like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks ago. But one of the books I've been reading presently is called How Trust Works. And I just finished it. And there's so many pieces of trust that reflect on some of these issues that we're talking about that make it really interesting. So when we talk about inequality in the system and empathy and how we judge others versus our own group and how we have these built-in tendencies that if we don't examine them lead to a bad result, it's kind of like, oh, okay. So it gives a very good way to become more thoughtful about our decision making and our judgments. And so I'm definitely going to be sharing a book review of that in September. But yeah, the trust thing has really got me thinking. Oh, Leo, why don't you're a great friend in the area, but if you're not doing Booktube, there's something else that's taking up your time that we're both working on. This is like a little resilience community. So as a truth and courage and solution, can you tell us what motivated you to like try to get together people and foster community? Because I think it's lovely.
Yeah. Well, that's like a whew, I switched. I was going to read the quote I pulled out for
About
for what we were just
capitalism?
talking about, capitalism, and then
Okay, then
switch
yes,
to
do
that.
that first. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's great. Because it's yeah. So this is from Colette Pichon Battle, an offering from the Bayou. So if you're following along, it's on page 331, and she says we must reframe.
You're following along. Sorry, that took me back to church. Go ahead.
Oh, that's a good school, but sure, church too.
Okay.
Yes, let's all flip our hymnals to page 331.
Yep.
And sing together. No, okay. We must reframe our understanding of the problem. Climate change is not the problem. You've got the flag on there too. Nice.
I did it before you even did. Yeah.
Nice. I just found this interesting. Climate change is not the problem. Climate change is the most horrible symptom of an economic system that has been built for a few to extract every precious ounce of value out of this value and its people. I think I typed it in wrong. Thank you. Out of this planet and its people, from our natural resources to the fruits of our human labor. This system has created this crisis. And I mean, I think that does lead into, your other question about the resiliency. Living in a country, in a world where it's been, I feel, communicated pretty clearly that those with the most really don't value the rest of us, and that the point of humanity is to extract every last little bit of resource from the planet and from other humans, and forget things like empathy and appreciating other the value of anyone besides one's own bottom line. I resist that strongly. Like I will not let them take my joy or take my community or take my existence. And so thinking through that, like, what does that mean for what do I need to do to survive, to build my community, to increase my sphere of influence, to find like collective power, to find actionable things to make change. And I don't have the answers to that per se, but my first attempt at something was to pull people together in like an intentional group of like a dinner group, to talk about like what is troubling us right now, what can we do to support one another, where can we make a change, where our groups, I don't want to recreate the wheel. There is just so much good advice about like, don't start up a new thing, like try to look to who has been doing the work and support them and join them. So it feels like I'm saying like I'm trying to start a new, but I'm trying to start, I'm
you
gathering
gotta do
my,
both. Yeah, you gotta do both.
yeah, that's true. I'm gathering my people so we can like support one another in connecting to where we can join the work of others. And some of that's because a bunch of us are introverts, so there's
I don't know what you're talking about. No, truly,
right?
truly, yeah. Yes.
So anyway, so it's been good. It's another of the big bads in the world is scheduling and busyness, and so it's been hard to get people together. And it's also hard to like pull together a group per se for what are we doing? Are we mutual support? Are we community? Are we or are we gonna like write letters to our senators or something like that? So we're still,
what's our goal? What's our mission?
Yeah, we're still in the like, let's figure out who we are together. Let's figure out how we get through this. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah. Ven and I were also talking yesterday about how like the systems are interrelated. We got into a little bit of that. So I want to say hello, Ben.
Yeah. Hello.
And then Greg,
Yeah,
hello. Yep,
yes.
Zodiac Leo, yep. Gareth is here, hello. We got a
And the
great
good
quote
folks
from
on
Greg.
here.
The only cure for the ills of democracy is more democracy, much more. Edward Abbey. I need to read some Edward Abbey, definitely. Yep. Mining resources regardless of consequences. Yep. Hi, Jim.
Hey, Jim.
I'm going to call us a coven. I'm just going to go ahead and say it.
All right.
And Grace is here. Started this book. I had to go back to the library, but I was loving it so far. It's really good. Yes, and Marion says if you don't know what to do, look around at what other people need and see if you can support that. Sounds a lot like my Howard Thurman quote. Well, sort of. So speaking of hymnals, speaking of what we were talking about, one of your quotes talked about progressive Christians, and something from the book tipped you off in that direction. But I was just going to ask, like, is that a group that you already see doing some action that you have joined? Is that like some people that you're following? Is that just something that strengthens your own commitment? How would you take that in terms of truth and solutions?
I think, and I guess just to there's so many different chapters by just different essayists in here, and so I recommend them all. If one kind of doesn't fit with what you're needing, keep going, read them all, because they're all very different. So the one that you're referring to had a very provoking title, or thought-provoking title, "Collards Are Just as Good as Kale," and that was by Heather McTeer Toney. And one of the things she talks about is that, and I apologize, I'm using she for all of these authors. I don't know if they may use they, but I think that the Christians on the right, on the conservative side, not the right side, but the
conservative Christians. Yeah.
Yes. Have really done a disservice to, or they've really kind of controlled the narrative in a lot of ways about many things, and one of those is climate change, and so this author really highlights that, that progressive Christians are also like working hard for climate change. That chapter she also addresses, like that we look at like our assumptions about who is in the climate change movement, also in terms of like race and gender and all of those things. So definitely recommend that. For me personally, I'm in a place right now where I'm like kind of supporting from afar. But there's a great group in Portland called Eco-Faith Recovery, which basically, it's such a great concept. It's and they do a lot of this organizing, the community organizing and small group stuff. And they are using the 12-step model to basically say, like, we as humans, as our culture, we are addicted to the things that are killing the planet. So how can we use the wisdom of the 12-step recovery programs or other recovery programs to say, how can we be in recovery of our addiction? Like we're still stuck in this car-bound planet. We're still stuck in all of these things, but are there insights in that? And they also like really look to like encourage and grow leaders in that work too. So that's one that I would shout out, would be Eco-Faith Recovery.
Interesting. Yeah, I would definitely say we're in an addiction sort of model. So that's an interesting thing to explore.
Richard Hawley. Kale is pretty awful. Oh man, my household, we have like, kale is our love language. So
okay, so one more thing on the capitalism beat, since Richard is here. At the very beginning, they have a thing about consumers and competitors, and how, this is one of the things I talked about with Grace, like we're assumed to be just these mouths that are like ever consuming, instead of like a whole person that has needs, drives, wants to give, etc. And those other roles that we have, it's important to emphasize those as well. So instead of consumers and competitors, which we are, what else are we? What are some of the things that you can point to, that you do to strengthen your community, to exercise joy, etc.? What are your roles?
Yeah. So I'm cracking up about the conversation about kale in the chat. I wish that things such as creating community, creating or creative expression, those sorts of things were valued as much as like things that supported consumers, because I wish that I could like unplug from it all, and that's where I could live in, and like how can I build community, how can I find creative expression, how can I finish my darn book, you know, how I find great joy in the circus community and trapeze, and like, you know, I wish I lived in a world where I could, you know, spend more time on that, acknowledging also that I'm not as young as I used to be, so I need to also make accommodations for that. But yeah, I just I don't know. What about you?
Other roles. I think learning as a learner, a lifelong learner, and having
Yeah.
curiosity and wanting to take the gifts of wisdom that people have to hand out and say, okay, I'm going to hold this knowledge and use it and then pass it on, things like that. Or I'm trying to learn about plants. I'm trying to learn about what else? What else is on my list? Plants is the main one. Plant identification, and then a little bit of herbalism, that sort of angle, so that, you know, in case we need to be survivalists in the next few decades. Also dancing. I realize I'm like nowhere near any sort of professional level, any sort of fitness level, but it does bring me joy. And so I feel very defiant and joyful when I'm going to the gym to dance in the studio. So that's me. Yeah. You can even take positive roles as consumers. Like one of the things going to the farmer's market, buying the kale, knowing your people who make the special jam, knowing your people who raise the sheep who make the really good cheese, and you know, you bring some of the jars back so that they can reuse. Like just having relationships instead of it being a transaction, I think is important. Yeah. So you can include that as well.
Yeah. Or even just like picking where you make your transactions to, like, I don't make it to the farmer's market very often, but as you know, but I love, well, not anymore. Not anymore. But like I love doing a CSA, community supported agriculture, where like I don't have a relationship per se with the farm. Like I couldn't be up and go like, hey Hannah, like how's your farm? But like I have purchased a share and get my box of veggies and all of that. And
and then you're creatively challenged to try to find a way to use all those things, because you're like, maybe I don't know what this is. What is this kohlrabi nonsense? I don't know.
Right. Yeah. And now Internet. I love kohlrabi. So yeah.
There you go. Oh.
Yeah.
Leslie peeked in to want to say hello, and Richard, and apparently Richard has a friend, Marion. This thankfully doesn't grow. Kale doesn't grow in Rwanda. Hilarious. Grace says, I agree so much. That's where I want to put my energy, is in community and creativity, and it feels like it gets sucked away by capitalism. Yeah, Gara says, paying it forward, that's something everyone can do in different ways. The opposite of consumerism. Yes, I like that a lot. And then Marion says, circus community, random shout out, but you might like The Trapeze Artist. Have you read this?
No, I definitely am writing that down.
Write it down.
Yes.
Jim says, I don't think I've ever eaten kale. Go on, I'm kale curious. Best recipe for it. This is hilarious. I have lots of recipes. I love like a massaged kale salad that breaks it down with vinegar and soy sauce. I love the like sauteed kale where you put other spices in it, so it's just like roughage and a canvas for other flavors. I could go on, but I will try to stay on topic today.
Well, we just have a salad every day with kale. kale
Yeah.
and some greens and carrots and kohlrabi now that our CSA has introduced us to that, and little cucumber.
Okay, so
And a little cheese.
And what?
And a little cheese. Sorry, back
And
to
a
the
little
book. Back
cheese.
to the book.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was gonna say I went back through my tabs in this book since it's a couple years, and one of them was pointing to an Octavia Butler quote, which is very cool because the first book for the month was Parable of the Sower, which was so good to start with, and this is a quote about. Okay, I'll read there's two quotes. Octavia Butler said, "Civilization is to groups what intelligence is to individuals. We love a metaphor, is a means of combining the intelligence of many to achieve ongoing group adaptation." So this is hopeful, right? And I really like that. Not only that it looped in other books, but also if we think that we're in peak civilization right now, don't laugh. How will that help us adapt? What do you see as like, even if we're in this very constrictive and deleterious, that's not a word, but it's just a fun word, atmosphere where we're addicted to consuming carbon in various ways, are there tools that we have because we've had this progress in civilization that we can use to adapt and foster community? So maybe like turning it around and using some of the tools against the machine.
I mean, this isn't exactly what you're talking about, but it reminds me of there's some disability justice groups that I can't remember. Maybe it was in Alice Wong's book, but about like how we have a lot to learn from the disability community in terms of how they the things that like such things like oh, I'm drawing a blank. What is the word? Where you like mutual aid, there's different ways of. I know it's been too long since I've read that article, so I apologize. I bring it up and then can't speak to it, but it just reminds me of like, yeah, there's a lot of things that we have that are like outside of maybe like, did you get your certification in this class or whatever? But like, setting up mutual aid networks, or yeah. If we have this creative yearning and we have this longing for community, like how can we take creativity and community and like have that like really help lead us forward into something new?
In some of the previous discussions, we did talk about Facebook groups and how they helped us connect locally. Eva was talking about that. And we could try to find other ways if we don't use Facebook. But there was in Rachel's talk with the sci-fi short story, there was an event and there was a local sort of, someone had constructed a little hut and it was a message board, and I was like, yes, take us back to 1970, please. Like some of it may be going backwards, and as a historical fiction lover, like I may be more prone to wanting to go backwards than other folks, but I'm sure you could think of more like networked ways, like Discord ways, like email server and Google Calendar ways that would facilitate people just getting more familiar, getting more connected, in a meaningful way rather than in a notification way,
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's so interesting. The two things that occur to me. So I chose after the election to cancel Facebook and Instagram. I didn't want to participate in the meta world, and there are some things that I don't get the Facebook groups or the notifications, but that just challenges me to find other ways to connect with people. So if others also have good suggestions on other ways that you keep in touch with people or find out what's going on.
Skywriting is probably out.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Here in the Northwest when it can be foggy, but the other thing that it reminded me, I can't remember which article it was in here, but there was one where, and this kind of gets actually to your other question about like how can we use our intelligence, but they were like, there was a table where they were set up outside of a museum and like people would come up and try to suggest like new words for things.
This is like, one of my favorite articles. The linguists So the Anthropocene. Oh gosh.
Yeah,
I totally
so
nerded out
good,
over that
so
one.
good. And then I think, I mean, because I think honestly, like having words to describe something really opens up new ways to understand a thing or to talk about things. So like one of the things they talked about was like the grief and anxiety and pre-traumatic stress about climate change crisis, and like how being able to talk about that and then having words to describe those experiences, those feelings, like then opened up ways for people to say like, I didn't know that other people felt that way, or all of those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So I think
Yes.
yeah, you love that article too, or that chapter too?
Yes. No, in another chat I was asking, I want there to be a word, like a single word, not like a whole paragraph, to describe the tendency to misdiagnosis anxiety and depression about modern world problems as a mental illness, when it's really a rational response to modern society. Every time I like hear about something and I kind of go, is it though? Like it's one of those things where you're like, I don't know. I think this is kind of crazy. I don't think we should adapt to this and treat it as normal.
Yeah, there's so much that we should not be treating as normal right now.
That word would help, I think, but I haven't found it yet. So
yeah.
Speaking of words and linguistics for the Anthropocene, we've got this cool thing going on, this bingo card. Oh, it's not being shown. I'm saying add to stage, remove other. Oh dear. Okay, there we go. Sorry. We've got these cool bingo cards. What's your word? Where are you on the yeah?
My word is, I was going to say which box it is, but since it's moving around, I'll just say the word. It's perspicacity.
Ooh.
I just love that word, perspicacity, perspicaciousness. Can
you use it in a sentence for us, please?
Yes. My girlfriend's perspicaciousness is one of the most attractive things about her. That doesn't help
us with the meaning.
So it's the ability to understand things quickly and make accurate judgments. So this says, and I love that the Cambridge Dictionary says, for their phrase of example, is a woman of exceptional perspicacity. So
nice.
I know many women with exceptional perspicacity and admire them for that. So yeah, keenness of mental perception and understanding. So.
Nice. I like that you had it ready. That's much appreciated.
Well, it's not a word that I could just like rattle off necessarily.
There you go.
I mean, I don't use it often. I should use it more, right?
Up to you. Some people delight in dropping it in conversation, and some people probably get uncomfortable by making other people uncomfortable with big words. But we're not about that here. We're about exploring new big words and having fun with them because they're there. So why not use them?
Exactly. Can I say my other favorite big word?
Yes, I'm going to say mine so that I
don't
have to remember anymore. It's paradigmatic. Paradigmatic. And that came about because someone said enigmatic. And so I like paradigmatic. It's just a fun word to say. Talking about paradigms, paradigm shifts, frameworks, mindsets, all that stuff. So go ahead. What's your other favorite word? I think I know this one.
Octothorpe. It is, for those of you who don't know, it's the #, the hashtag, because it's eight roads leading to the little town. It's Octothorpe. So anyway, I just love that word and I never get to use it. So there you go.
Nice.
Cat Paw likes kale too. Excellent.
Eva says the number of people I know with phones without service that use Facebook Messenger to communicate is high.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Normal is such an ick.
No, normal is just a setting on your dryer. I love that. I can't remember who said that. Was that?
Oh, that's a good one.
Irma Bombeck, maybe? I don't know.
Classic. Let's see. What else do we have on this list? Go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to read, if I may, the quote, my second quote that I pulled. I don't know if this is the right flow for it, but it's in terms of the agitation piece. The problem, all the problems. Oh, I froze. Can you hear me?
I can still hear you. Yeah,
wow,
yeah. Go
that's
ahead.
A great shot. So glad it froze there. all the problems in the world just feel so big. Like I don't have, I don't know. I just can feel really powerless. But then, so that I really appreciated this quote from Gina McCarthy from the chapter on public service for public health, page 227, for those following along. But I refuse to sit around being angry and anxious all the time. I am not going to be a dead woman walking. I am staying hopeful and energized. Why? Because I can. How? I choose to be. Let's turn the chaos of the day into actions that will strengthen our democracy, empower the powerless, and build healthier communities today and a more sustainable tomorrow. Stand tall, stand together, speak up, and get active. You might even need to march to stand up for our democracy, as we did in the 60s and 70s, and as we're doing today.
Yes. I refuse. That's a great segue for tomorrow's final stream for Agitation August, because the book is called We Refuse, and it's a book that I borrowed from you because you had it. Just great.
I can't wait to read it.
Kelly Carter Jackson's so good. So I will be giving it back to you this weekend if it's convenient before the renovation starts.
Perfect. No, I'm going to turn off my camera and see if I can turn it back on again real quick.
Do you want me to remove you and add you back in, or do you want to turn off and turn on the camera? Maybe he did both. Device not connected. All right, well, I can catch up with the chat. Richard has never purchased kale. Oh no. Oh yes. Oh maybe. I've got one more thing to pull out. So while we're waiting for Leo to come back, it's about participatory processes. So if you haven't read it and you have access to this for a library or a bookshop, I would really recommend it. It's a 5-star read first through, and now I've read it again in bits and pieces. It's essays, it's poetry, it's I don't think there's any fiction, but it's all sorts of different hopeful efforts. And he disappeared. Okay, I'll be coming back in a second. That are tackling different aspects of the climate crisis. So really great. And presto. You're moving again.
Yay. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, I froze again.
Yeah, but you're smiling this time, so it's fine.
Okay. That's better.
Okay, so great quote, the refusing, great segue for me.
Mm-hmm.
I had another question, and just gonna seg into it about participatory processes. Page 180, 181, it was talking about how, let me just read it so I don't try to miss the point. I think it's someone who was in a legislature who decided to run, Kate Orff, someone in Maryland. The public needs to be informed and empowered to consider the trade-offs and transitions ahead. And communities must be engaged in co-designing the biodiverse, low-carbon, climate-conscious physical world we want to manifest. And then she goes into a bunch of different industries where this is important, and energy, land use, industry, like, I don't know, data centers, transport, and that made me think of water, and Western Water Girl, I think is her handle on TikTok. She's someone, I think, in Colorado who was just putting together what was going on with the water compacts and the laws and the participatory,
I'm here. I can hear you.
Okay. And you can hear the espresso machine as well, probably. And now she's part of her local Democratic Party because there was no one else who wanted to do the thing. So she was like, I'll stand up and do it, if no one else is interested. And, she's a young person who's trying to get some of these things passed, which is great to see their success, which is really cool. Participatory processes that inspire you, or that are your priorities that you want to jump into and get people rallied around?
That's a great question. You can't see my thinking face right now. It kind of looks like yours right there. Right? um, that's where I'm stuck. You know, like where is the participatory process that I want to jump in on? I mean, I feel like there's so many issues that are, you know, we're facing right now, and climate change is definitely interwoven throughout so many of them. One of the things that really troubles me right now is like the actions of the immigration enforcement here in the U.S. And that also, like, migration and climate refugees and all of that. It's all intertwined, and it's also, you know, very racist. You know,
Yeah.
driven by a lot of racism and a lot of yeah, those sorts of things. So I'm looking for like participatory ways of like how, you know, how would I get involved um, in work supporting immigrants, and you know, how would I get involved in, you know, local decision making here in the city. You know, if I start small, again, thinking of like, what is my sphere of influence? Where can I, you know, like that person who was, you know, joined because no one else wanted to. Um, you know, there's like City Club of Portland has, you know, ways that you can like get involved and like find out like research actions and those sorts of things. Or like there's community organizing through like IAF. So actually, Industrial Areas Foundation. That's like
Okay. I don't
classic
know that
community
one.
organizing. Yeah. So they definitely look for they so IAF is like, I think it's from the 30s, you know, it goes way back, and did a lot of the groundbreaking community organizing that, like, I think even Obama was participating in and such. And so one of the things I'm pondering is like, yeah, where is there a local group that I can join, that I can, you know, do something to make a difference for to support immigrants? Is there a research that I need to do in Portland to like figure out where our policy is you know, where we need to make different policy changes, or in our city council? Is there an organizing network that I can participate in and learn more about how to get involved in that? So I'm in like the research phase of that. I guess I would ask your viewers, the audience, yeah, what they would answer for that question as well, and you
I
as well. Yeah.
yeah. I can't remember the name of the organization you put in your last email, that I looked up and signed up for the newsletter that was about housing assistance for African Americans in Portland. Do you remember
Mm.
the name for that? It was something with a T.
Yeah. So taking ownership PDX, and what that
Yeah.
does is like recognizes that there was a lot of like redlining and really predatory lending here in Portland, particularly targeting the Black community. And so this group, taking ownership PDX, helps provides volunteer labor and materials to like do repairs and stuff like that, to prevent predatory lenders from evicting Black families from Portland.
Finding a tiny little detail that will allow them to evict people. Yeah. And
Exactly. Yeah.
sometimes I realize and acknowledge that finding like the perfect opportunity gets in the way of participating for me. But this one has all sorts of things that I want all together. It's like
Yeah.
the marginalized population getting to interact in a sanctioned, not in the bad way, but like in a controlled environment where I
Mhm.
feel safe. There's like
Mhm.
not having the resource taken away from people so that you're disadvantaging an already disadvantaged population. So it's like
Mhm.
fighting against the tide. Um, it's local, it's in person, and you get to be physical and be outside your house,
Mhm.
which I think is
Yeah.
one of the things I have to fight against, is like not staying inside and hiding.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And it's
So, yeah.
coming alongside and helping people that have made an opportunity for you to come and help, rather than like coming in and saying like, I know how you need to zone your neighborhood, or I don't know, whatever, you know, like,
Right.
which I
Dictating.
value. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's taking ownership PDX, and I'm sure there might be similar things elsewhere. The other one that climate related, so there's a farm that actually I want to get our resilience group to see if we can all go do a volunteer day. It's Eloheh Farm, so ELOHEH, I believe, and it's a farm here in Oregon that is really focusing on indigenous practices and also like doing a lot of education. There were some of those in here as well listed, like Soulfire Farms in New York.
Yeah, good example.
And like, how can we learn from communities that we basically not listened to for far too long, and also like support practices that care for the earth and that also like support these communities. So that's a way that you can get connected to. Again, outside, get your fingers in the dirt.
So as I say that I have definite tendencies to stay inside and be introverted, but I want to like go out of my comfort zone and go out of my way and unlearn these sort of habits that are just accrued and are not necessarily like what I did as a kid. Although there was plenty of reading inside as a kid. Let's not prevaricate there. There was a quote that actually touched on this, which is page 117. It's by Emily Atkin. This is the person who's running for office. She says, "It was incredibly difficult to learn how to speak my mind on the page. I remember feeling so uncomfortable when in May 2017, I wrote an article calling Scott Pruitt, the now disgraced former head of the EPA, a quote, hypocritical liar, because she's used to being, I think she's a lawyer or something, in a role where she had to be neutral. And so it's like unlearning those sort of ingrained habits or like straitjacket kind of things that your brain is used to running in those ruts and saying, no, I need to say the truth. I need to speak out what is upsetting me, what is agitating me. He's a hypocritical liar. That's a fact, you know?
Yeah.
And so I recognize that there's things in me that I want to untrain and like get out of the rut of and like, you know, stretch.
Yeah.
So that was great.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, I think so. I'm a trans guy, socialized female for the first 37 years of my life, and I think many folks socialized female like also are the, you know, play nice and be kind and be attentive to the needs of others, which are good things, right? We should all like be nice and kind and attentive to the needs of others. But when we shrink ourselves to do so and like think
accommodate others
and think, I mean, I just had an example the other day where like they kind of forgot about me at the car dealership, and finally like I poked my head out around like an hour later, like, hello, and I'm like, oh no, you're still here. We were, you know, like my trapeze coach was like, you need to be more assertive. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, how do we unlearn those things? And how do we find places to be brave? Like even like, so I'm wearing it, you can't see it, boss. So I'm wearing a shirt.
Drink water. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Drink water, love hard, fight racism. And I have a bunch of other shirts that because I would, you know, when I would have my Booktube channel, then I would like wear a cool shirt.
For causes, yeah.
For causes. And I found myself anxious about, you know, wearing some shirts out in public these days. And I don't like that about myself. Like I want to like wear this shirt. I want to wear the shirts that say like trans pride and all of those things out in public. And yeah, I need to unlearn some of that timidness that that has grown stronger the last few years, I think. But that's also where that community comes in, right? Because if you're standing together with people, right, who are like, yes, you know, fight racism, yes, trans pride, yes, you know.
Yeah. There's one other, I guess, point I had that relates back to Pat's talk about deciding. So page 227, is that one of the ones you've discussed already? I took down my email because I have too many tabs open already, but you had...
Yes, that's the 227 was I refuse to sit around being angry and anxious.
Okay. So that refuse to be a dead woman walking quote was really interesting because it feels like a decisive moment, and the How We Learn to Be Brave book was about deciding. And when Pat and I were talking, we were talking about like there's a lead up preparation period. There's a moment where you say, well, this is it. I'm sticking my foot in the sand or whatever the metaphor is. And then after that, it's aligning. And that means that you're rearranging things. So if you're going to take that in terms of like trying to overcome certain tendencies, like for me, it would be like, okay, so preparation is I've written in my big red journal. I've like written in my dream journal. I've like thought about it for weeks. And so I sign up for something. And then I say, all right, well, now I have the information. And the next time that it comes up that I'm available, I'm going to do it. That's what I was deciding. So then aligning is saying, okay, well, feeling lazy that morning is not an excuse to say maybe next time, or you know, like no excuses about saying I need another person or whatever. So yeah, I liked that, and the reason it's high the forefront of my mind is that I'm going back to grab clips from interviews, and I'll be sharing those on Friday at the Bangarang Closure Movement. So if anyone is going to join us for that to reflect on this experience, you'll get to see the little highlight reels that I made. It should be fun.
Yeah, I look forward to it. Well, you've given us so many good books to read. Like I definitely want to read the one you were well, all of them, but like the how to be brave.
How We Learn to Be Brave. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what we need. We need that. We need to. Maybe that's what our resilience dinner group can be like. We could be a practice group for bravery.
It could be a book club.
Yeah, well,
it's already a book swap. So I mean, it's just
we're a bunch of readers and introverts, and
yeah, very cool. Anything else on your mind that you wanted to talk about in terms of agitation and truth, solutions, courage, books you've picked up recently, actions you've taken because of books? Anyone can join in.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the last couple quotes too that I pulled from The Adaptive Mind by Suzanne Moser. She wrote talking about like the despair of like facing all of the things, you know, and isn't this how so many feel? That is the face of an overwhelming problem. Doing nothing is not an option. In fact, for many, this is the part that I thought was key, doing something is the very antidote to despair. Doing something can give us hope and purpose, while sitting still puts us at risk of falling into a hole of darkness. So
that's a good one.
Yeah. I wish she'd use a little different language to describe the you know, not equating darkness with despair, but yeah. But sitting still puts us at a risk of falling into that hole of depression or sadness or all is lost, and but doing something that can give us hope.
Yeah. I recently talked with my friend Melissa Ike, who does productivity sprints a few times a year, epic marathon long ones, and we were talking about different tendencies. There's a Gretchen Rubin book about the 4 tendencies and how you get yourself to respond to expectations, whether they're internal or external expectations. And when you're talking about doing things, you can fight against yourself. So it was an important step for me to realize after reading that, after she recommended it, that like, oh, I could be undermining myself, and there's things I can do to make that less of an issue. And I was like, oh, okay. Yes, that was a good one.
That's really excellent. Good. Yeah. I mean, I think for me, the other thing that I've done is that reminds me, like, you know, I have a mentor that I just meet with monthly, Actually, I brought his book, The Bush Still
Ooh.
Burns, How Spirituality and Organizing Transformed a Pastor and Congregation by Terry Moe. So again, he's a pastor, so his is from like a spirituality point of view, but he and I meet once a month, and he just, so he just has a lot of wisdom about facing a lot of issues and in the community, and how you organize, and how you make small changes, how you move the needle, how you find what's attainable or achievable. So I guess, yeah, I hope that all folks can like find a mentor or a parasocial mentor, like find some place to like check in about like what your thoughts are. His recurring reminder is to to reflect on our actions and our failures and our learnings and our successes, but that reflection component of our actions is just really key to like helping us to move along in our to grow as organizers, to grow as people making a difference in the world. I'm sure there's probably a lot of great quote.
Especially people like us who need that reflective period. A lot of people are in different camps maybe, but yeah, I know that for me, definitely I need that reflection period. It's a great advice. Well, to bring us to a close, I don't see any other comments or questions to address, so I'll just say you have a weekend left to play bingo. If anyone wants to email me with their proof of bingo, Leo's Word got us 5 additional bingos today, so you should have plenty to choose from, or you can just binge the rest of the interviews. Tomorrow we have Marcy Thomas from Brown Girl Collective, and we're going to be talking about We Refuse, which is a transformative book for her, and really good for me too, like really good. So read it at the beginning of the month and still thinking and like seeing the connections. It's really good. So hopefully everyone will be there tomorrow, and then Friday is our Bangarang. Any 90s kids in the house? 1992 is the Hook movie, right? So we'll reunite and reflect, talk about some highlights for the month at that point. But thank you, Leo, for
thank you so much
stepping out of your work for today, and thank you everyone for watching and hanging in there, being a great discussion leaders, all of you. And we'll see you again soon.
I think Richard's right, by the way. The freezing was capitalism's fault.
Oh, of course.
But yeah, thank you all. Thank you so much.
Yep. So take care, everyone, and happy reading.